All right, these notes are for 8.1 support. So here we go. I'm going to share my screen with my camera first and give you a few definitions on here. So we're looking at polynomials, and we're going to classify what type of polynomial we'll have based on the degree of the polynomial. So if you got a 0 degree, which means you got something like f of x equals 5, because remember, if you had a variable there, it would be like x to the 0, but remember, anything to the 0 power is 1. So this is basically 5 times 1, which is 5. That's why we don't have to write the x when the degree is a 0, okay? Now, if it's got a 0 degree, or if it's just a number by itself, like f of x equals 5 like I had, that is called a constant polynomial because it's a horizontal line and it never changes. It's always 5. All right, if it's got a degree 1, it'll be like f of x equals 2x plus 3. And remember, since there's no exponent there, it's like a 1 for its exponent. So if the variable's missing, its exponent is 0, but if the variable is there, its exponent is a 1. So this is a linear polynomial, and it would make a straight line. Degree 2, such as f of x equals x squared minus 3x plus 2, highest exponent's a 2, so this is what we call quadratic. And y'all remember, quadratics, we know they make curvy graphs, okay? So linear was a line, could be uphill, downhill. Constant would be a horizontal line. All right, if it's got a degree 3, which means the highest exponent is a 3, then we call that a cubic polynomial. And a cubic polynomial is sort of going to go uphill, left to right. Now, remember, we flip them and they went downhill, okay? All right, and then the highest one we'll mess with in this class is a degree 4. If it's got a highest exponent of a 4, it's what we call a quartic polynomial, almost like a quarter. And a quartic will sort of do that type of stuff, okay? It'll go uphill both sides, or if it's flipped over, it'll go downhill both sides. All right, so some more words you might want to know is a leading term. The leading term is the term with the highest exponent. So in this last example, the highest exponent's 4. So the leading term for that example would be the 5x to the 4th. The leading term is everything that makes up that, okay? Now the leading coefficient, that's the number in front of the leading term. So on this problem, since this is my leading term, the leading coefficient would be the 5, okay? All right, so I just wanted to get y'all a little bit of that. Because what we're going to do is go in here and look at how they got these homework problems going, okay? So the first one, they want to know the leading term of this. So to me, that looks like what, a negative, looks like a 1 divided by 3. And then x to the 4th. So I got to put my exponent using this little bar down here. And whoops. Now y'all notice what I did. I got to arrow out before I put in that x and then put in its exponent of 4. So notice before, when I had it all under there, it was going to mark me wrong because my x to the 4th was up under there, okay? So make sure we want to make sure to put the variable in, you're not up under there with it. Now the leading coefficient we said was the number, so that's going to be the negative 1 divided by 3. No variables are involved when you're looking at the leading coefficient. Coefficient means numbers. The degree of this polynomial is the highest exponent here, so I got a 4 and a 1, so the highest exponent is 4, so it's going to be a degree 4. And then finally, it's going to say what kind of polynomial is this? Well, we looked on our chart a while ago. If it was a degree 4, it was a quartic. Okay. All right, so that should be all of that question. Let's move on to the next one. So classify the polynomial and then determine the leading term, leading coefficient, and the degree. So that's got an exponent. 4 is the highest exponent, so I know that's quartic. All right, so let me go through. What is the leading term? Well, the leading term is that negative 2x to the fourth, because that's the one that had the highest exponent. So we would check that. The leading coefficient of the polynomial is the number in front of the leading term. So that was what, the negative 2. So we would check that. And then finally, it wanted to know the degree of the polynomial. Well, that's equal to the highest exponent. So my degree is a 4. And we knew that because we said this was quartic a while ago. So to be quartic, it has to be a degree 4, okay? All right, let's see what we got next. Negative 3x minus 6. So we know that's got an exponent of 1 that's not being shown by the x. So we know that is linear. If I graph that, that would make a straight line, okay? All right, what is the leading term of the polynomial? Well, the leading term is going to be the negative 3x. Remember, the leading term is the number and the variable. The leading coefficient was the number in front of the leading term, so that'll be a negative 3 for us. Yep. And then the degree, remember we said if there wasn't an exponent there, it has to be a 1. So that would be a degree 1, which makes that a linear. All right, so was that it on that? So next question. Now, leading term. Look at this. They got this out of order. Negative 2x, 9x squared, and what's that, an x to the third? So the highest exponent is the last term, which is the x to the third. So my leading term will be x to the third. So I would check that answer. Then they want to know the leading coefficient. That's the number in front of the x to the third. Well, remember, when we have variables that don't have a number in front of them, it's got to be a 1. We had a lot of 1s in math. Now, the degree of this polynomial, well, if that's the leading term and it's the x to the third, that means the degree has to be the 3. So I would check that, and let's see what they got next. The polynomial is with a degree of 3 is going to be a cubic, we said on our chart a while ago. So check that, and we're moving on. So what is there, 6 of these? So we're on 5 already. So these aren't bad. The leading term of this polynomial, well, the highest exponent is a 2. So the leading term is going to be the negative 1. Whoops. Negative 1 divided by 2. Arrow out. Put your x. And then my exponent was a 2. So negative 1/2 x squared is the leading term. The leading coefficient is the number, which is the negative 1/2. So we put in our negative 1/2, check that. The degree of the polynomial, well, the highest exponent was a 2, so the degree is going to be a 2. And then we know when it's got an exponent of 2, we've been graphing these for a while now, it's going to be quadratic. So that's why we use the quadratic formula with exponents of 2 in there, right? All right, y'all, so that's not bad. We're on the last one already. The leading term on this one looks like the negative 1 divided by 3. Arrow out, put your x, And then that is going to be squared also. So check that answer. Leading coefficient is the negative 1/3. So negative 1 divided by 3. Remember, they're going to ask me for what? My degree next. So my degree, the highest exponent is a 2. And then once again, exponent of 2 is quadratic. So check that answer. And y'all be done with this homework. So let me stop my share. And y'all, since that's all we had on that, I'm going to stop this video and let you have at it.